believe it or not, I do want to talk about Jaylen Brown a little bit in this show. And I was just very impressed by his, showing up on the biggest stage. What?
No, I was like, it was
okay.
amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, Sean, Madison Square Garden, every basketball player would tell you is like the dream place to play. There's no better place in the world to play. For him to show up on opening night when the Knicks fans are fired up because the Knicks are supposed to be good this year, and they looked pretty solid tonight.
Fun environment. That would have been an awesome game to be at.
Must have been so fun. So to have a guy like that who embraces that and lives for those moments, I mean, that just reminds me of, and I'm not comparing him, but it reminds me of when Pierce and KG put together that Madison Square Garden performance where Pierce hit that game winner. And, that whole famous, Nate Robinson jumping on Pierce and falling over the back and all that stuff. Kind of was that level of performance. No. And those are exactly. Those are the things you remember for the rest of your career.
And then you see Nate's legs just go over him.
To complete somersault.
It's so good.
But, they came up short in the end, which is too bad. But, I mean, they were all so dead. I mean, the first game, they're not even in shape, half these guys yet, and they're going 45 minutes out there,
Yeah, I was also got 3 alley-oops this game, John. I know you kept a close eye on that. You even tweeted about it. John was like, "I see you, Rob. I see you getting up there."
All right, so I'm gonna, because it turns into a thing that gets us so far off track, and then we stop talking about Jaylen, and then everyone gets really mad.
That's a good point.
I'm not gonna do Rob right now because there was a ton of good. Still, some of the stuff I'm concerned with, but just focusing on Brown. And again, I'm not going to harken back. We're not going to start playing I told you so's after game 1 with a series of predictions we put out today. But we've been talking about this all offseason.
My predictions are looking very bad so far.
John's looking really good. I'm surprised you led with that.
No, but I'm not. Like I said, it's not a victory lap.
6th seed is in play.
It's observational. The Tatum thing to me, the Tatum Brown dynamic is so interesting because, and what I wrote about today was that. Brown keeps improving year over year in ways that you're like, I didn't think he could do that, and then he didn't play all off season. He's got his wrist in a cast. He can't really dribble. So I'm like, oh crap. The one thing he needs to work on more than anything is his handle, because that's the thing he's got to just continue to lock up to be able to get where he wants to go. Then he gets freaking COVID. He's got an inhaler on the sideline. He's practiced for like 10 seconds and he just comes out there and he looks like mid-season Jaylen, but like better. Like the handle is so confident. His eyes are up the whole time. He was making plays. He was one of the better playmakers out there today. And that's a thing he doesn't really do. He was engaged on defense. He was just phenomenal, like in so many different ways. It wasn't just one of those games where Jaylen gets hot from behind the arc and just gets unconscious. He was just awesome in every facet tonight.
But John, this is the perfect example of why I'm not quite sure that 2 alphas can work on the same team, right? Or at least
he was awesome.
I'll take 2 alphas over 1 alpha.
But this is the perfect example, though, right? There was like a 5-minute stretch in that fourth quarter where Jaylen barely touched the ball, and everyone was okay with that because at the end of the day, Tatum's going to get his shots, and not for nothing. Obviously, Tatum got the one at the end, but he also got a handful of other opportunities before that, and he came up dry every single time. They didn't look for Jaylen. Jaylen did what we've seen from Jaylen in the past, where it's like, okay, I'll get mine. I'll go off in the first half, and then, I'll pick my spots, or at least I'll wait till the ball finally comes to me, and I'll pick my spots to attack. But there is no setting up. There is no initiative because that's not who Jaylen is. And maybe that's a part of this as well, too. Maybe Jaylen needs to be more assertive. Maybe we'll see what he does, in game 30 or whatever, or halfway through the season. But for the most part, I can't help but wonder if Jayson Tatum got off to the same start that Jaylen Brown got off to, would he not have scored 50 points, right? Like, I feel like if Jaylen...
Because he'd keep getting fed.
Exactly. If Tatum got off to that same kind of start, there's no way he finishes with less than 50 points, or what Jaylen finished with. I feel like if Jaylen, one, maybe if he was more assertive, that helps. But 2, if you're Ime, you got to hook your guy up. If you're Ime Udoka, okay, we're calling a timeout and we're setting up plays for Jaylen. Jaylen's the hot one.
A couple quick updates. Jaylen Brown was saying his breathing was a little irregular at times during the game. He just said this in the post-game comments, and this is something Sherrod and Bobby, you guys were there.
But I meditate on the reg, so I'm good now. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. He talked prior to the game about that as well. This is, again, it's amazing how good he was here, but it's, again,
so much for 30 minutes, huh?
It's a thing we saw Tatum do. Another fun little stat on Jaylen as we go back to him a little bit. 46 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, only 2 other Celtics in history in a game have hit those numbers, those benchmarks each, or cleared them in the same game, and that's Larry Legend and John Havlicek. So that's how crazy this game was for him. The breathing's not good. Breathing is good. Breathing's good, but it's not good that he can't breathe.
Right.
Yeah, having the inhaler.
Thank you, doctor.
Good.
Yeah.
The importance of breath.
I just Googled breathing. Yeah.
Yes, it's always good.
Well, you just have to hope that it's just because he's so soon coming off of getting COVID that, as the days go by, that'll become more and more back to where it's. It's like I'm not gonna say it's like any cold, but a lot of times when you're coming back from a cold, you don't just go from 0 to 100. You have to take a few days and slowly get yourself back to where you were. So, all the more credit to him for coming out the way he did. I thought he was the only, he was not a bold statement. He was the only guy really giving them any sort of life for 4 quarters. And he was the reason they were in the game really in the fourth quarter. I know he didn't continue that scoring clip in the second, third, and fourth, but for him to drop 20 points in the first quarter and put the team on his back basically, and then finally he got a little bit more support from the guys around him, and then again when it mattered most, he came through and hit some really, really big shots. So for him to do that,
so efficient.
Well,
you look up like 4 minutes in, and it's like, oh, he has 16 points because he does it in so few possessions. He just hammers make after make after make, takes great shots. His profile on the floor is outstanding. Takes a couple mid-rangers here or there, but he nails his threes. He's brutally efficient at the rim, draws fouls in there. And, man, there were some possessions on the fast break where he would go from rebound to the basket, taking the shot attempt in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I think there was even a 1 second possession. Now, that basketball clock goes a little slower than I think real seconds do, but, come on. Rebound to basket in 2 seconds? This guy needs to be driving the offense. The pace.
His handle too. He was splitting defenders in ways I hadn't seen him doing that this year.
Quarter?
Oh my God, he was in tight spaces. Really in a low dribble, really good control.
And T-Mac out there
in ways I hadn't seen him before.
Yeah.
Who are some perimeter players?
You know what? This is funny.
Efficient? I can't even think of any other guys who are just 50% plus constantly.
No,
because it's an inefficient position. You're taking a lot of shots, deep shots. It's crazy to me.
Remember how last season started too? It was a lot of Jaylen and being surprised at Jaylen looks like he took another step here from where he was season prior, and everybody was starting to say, oh, they might have a 1A and 1B here as opposed to a number 1 and number 2. And now a season later, and we're 1 game in, so anything can happen. But it seems like conversations kind of going in that same direction as it did last season, where Jaylen Brown once again continues to show some legitimate a step forward from the prior season. And I think that's what John was kind of talking about earlier when he was talking about Tatum and how some people are starting to sort of go back and forth now between the two. And I know, John, in one of your predictions today, I forget the exact wording, but I think you said that Tatum's kind of, in a way, plateaued. Yeah. Albeit at a very high level. Yes. But he's certainly not, the best player. It's not like he doesn't have room for improvement. He could still find it in him to improve.
No,
that's what John said.
This is what I wrote. I wrote that I thought Tatum had plateaued at an extremely high level. And people said that Tatum's game's going to be more developed earlier in his career. But I believe that what we're seeing of him is, I don't know the next level for him. I don't know it. I don't know where he goes. But
you
with
might
Jaylen,
regret that one.
I'm saying with Jaylen, you keep seeing year over year, not just progress, leaps.
Right,
huge
like we saw last year, right.
And he did it. And right now, after 1 game, I'm seeing a different version of him already. And he's not even close to physically where he should be, because of the COVID and because of the wrist and the shortened off season, for him and just not getting his work. That was more what I was saying is I think Tatum, we've seen it. And it really comes down to him being a shot maker, and that's the key to him. But I don't know how much his game changes. Jaylen's game keeps evolving. Tatum's is not. Tatum's is about shot making. Well, that's how I see it.
Part of that has to do with the fact that I think Tatum came into the league as a more complete player.
Absolutely.
He didn't have nearly as much runway to work with as Jaylen does in terms of getting better. So I think that I think there's some truth to that, but at the end of the day, Tatum is a badass dude.